Hello and thank you so much for tuning back in to my classic Doctor Who reviews. Far out, the key to time was quite the adventure, wasn't it? A full season-long story arc, which, in my opinion, they really pulled it off. As I said at the end of last week's review, they really need to bring something special out to follow up after that epic. And what better way to do that than by bringing back not only the Daleks, but Davros. Haha, yes, the good old Davros collection. So today we're going to be watching Destiny of the Daleks. But I've already seen that one on DVD, so you know what that means. Blu-ray updated CGI special effects, here we come. Kicking off the Fourth Doctor's 6th season, officially surpassing the previous record of the Third Doctor's 5 seasons, Destiny of the Daleks starts season 17 off with an absolute banger. In this four-parter, the Fourth Doctor, K9 and Romana... Wait a minute. That's not Romana. Yes, it's no surprise to fans already in the know, but as I mentioned last week, Mary Tam decided to depart from the role after just one season, being replaced by Lala Ward, who literally just portrayed Princess Astra in the previous serial, even seen inexplicably wearing the same costume here. The in-universe explanation given was that Romana simply regenerated off-screen and chose to take the form of the princess. But rather than it being a result of her dying, like most Time Lords, she just decided to regenerate for the sake of it? What the heck? The sheer audacity! How rude! Imagine having the gall to suddenly completely change your appearance between appearances. The first few minutes are dedicated to that explanation, and honestly, it works. It's pretty comedic, and technically makes sense, given that she is a Time Lord. Sure, you could argue that it breaks canon, the idea that a Time Lord could just choose to spontaneously regenerate and cycle through various incarnations before settling on one. But, come on, is it really worth getting that upset over? Sure, it muddies the waters when it comes to the lore, but then again, so did the extra unseen doctors for the brain of Morbius, or Matt Smith's sneezing regeneration. Oh, let's not forget the classic Doctor's tendencies to pull out the most random, unexplained superpowers that we've never seen before and sometimes don't even see again, like the eye-to-eye hypnosis, or pitching your voice up to shatter glass. And let's not forget transmigration of object. Yeah, I'm never letting that one go. And at least they sort of returned to that idea when the Doctor regenerated into Peter Capaldi, and he said that he supposedly chose that face of the bloke from the fires of Pompeii. Maybe that's a bad example, because I actually thought that was quite stupid at the time, but whatever. What is or isn't canonically accurate fluctuates so often when it comes to Doctor Who. Timeless Child, or Doctor, by generation. So I know that it really bothers some people, but to me, I'm fine with it. As a far more popular YouTuber than me once said,
sometimes canon is bad and you just have to ignore it to enjoy a series.
If anything, I feel more sorry for this poor girl. Imagine getting full face makeup done to make you look like a bluish alien, only to have your face on screen for a fraction of a second. How bizarre. My theory is that it was a child actor, and they chose to cut her face so that, they kind of avoid that implication that a Time Lord could regenerate into a child. Which, yeah, that's worth avoiding. Anyway, I've rambled off enough now. The Doctor and Romana venture out into this mysterious planet that the TARDIS randomizer has brought them to. Not K9 though, he's got laryngitis.
Laryngitis.
The atmosphere on Skaro, this mysterious planet, is so foreboding. There's a constant droning sound that just puts you on edge. Okay, yeah, so it's obviously Skaro. They've landed on Skaro. Man, this would have been awesome to have seen for the first time back in the 70s. If the word Dalek wasn't in the episode title. Oh man, it seems like every Dalek story has such a good build-up and reveal that's kind of ruined by the fact that the word Dalek is in the title. Oh well, their grand entrance has them literally crashing back onto our screen in glorious fashion. Exterminate! It is so good to have the Daleks back for the first time in 30 serials? The modern series could never. Hearing that iconic Dalek heartbeat and the accompanying music felt great. What a fantastic way for Lalla Ward to flex her acting chops this soon in her tenure as a companion, because Romana is absolutely terrified of the Daleks. Meanwhile, Ace be like, hold my cider. So, what are the evil salt and pepper shakers up to this time, huh? Well, if it wasn't obvious, they've returned to their homeworld to find their creator, Davros. Davros plus Daleks is never a good combo, so it's up to the Doctor, Romana, some refugees, and a group of weird-haired, monotone space geezers to stop them. Going into this, I couldn't remember which serial from the Davros collection I had less memory of, Destiny or Resurrection of the Daleks. But once I actually started watching it, I couldn't help but get the sense of deja vu, like I had read the novelization or something. The idea of the Daleks using slave workers for mining purposes was so familiar, but was probably just a reused idea from a different Dalek book I read back in 2010. And yes, this does technically mean I found Genesis, Revelation, and Remembrance of the Daleks to be more memorable the first time I saw them. Please don't hate me, I can't help what I can and can't remember from my teenage years. Just ask my high school teachers. Safe to say, I enjoyed this one enough. It can be quite slow at times, but it is just so good to have the Daleks back. And Tom Baker is clearly having a blast. Their standoff is so tense and it's such a great scene, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the Doctor genuinely tried to wipe out Davros, right? Now's as good a time as any to mention that Davros is played by a different actor this time, because original actor Michael Wisher wasn't available, so this time is portrayed by David Goodison. Cue the well-known trivia about the mask being too small for the new actor, yada yada yada. I did find it really cool that they brought Goodison back to do the voice of Davros for the Season 17 Blu-ray collection trailer, despite the fact that a third actor would go on to be the main Davros performer. While we're talking about fascinating trivia that I'm sure everybody cares about, Destiny of the Daleks just so happens to be one of only 2 Doctor Who DVDs that my oldest friend William owns. Back when Andreas first got me into Doctor Who in 2009, we eagerly spread it around our friend group and did actually get a couple of our mates into it, if only for a short while. And, at my recommendation, while I was busy filling out my collection, he picked up the modern Series 4, Volume 4, and Destiny of the Daleks. Clearly a Davros bias. Just a super fun fact for you. And yes, William, I'm talking to you directly because I am sure you're watching this, you absolute legend. If you check under your TV on the shelf, tucked behind the PS3 somewhere covered in dust is probably 2 Doctor Who DVDs you forgot you owned. Let's see, what else is there to say about this one? There's a cool plot twist, the return of an overly loud sound effect, another instance of the 4th Doctor getting knocked unconscious twice for the billionth time. Credit to this actor, extra stuntman person for fully committing and going down hard. It might seem silly to mention, but you know, every single time a character falls over in these old TV shows and even some old movies from back in the day, they always obviously break their fall. And it always looks terrible. So bravo for the faceplant. Actually, thinking about the past history of the show, this serial really had me remembering how back in the John Pertwee era I used to praise cool camera movements, whereas now it's commonplace. We've really come a long way since the days of nothing but static camera shots. That's not to say everything's changed. After all, we've still got the classic push this button to destroy all the Daleks at the end of the serial cliche. It's tradition. And who doesn't love some glorious practical Dalek explosions? Now, with the day saved and the villain being turned into a Davros ice block, what's next? Well, now it's time for me to make a bit of a revelation of the Daleks. Destiny of the Daleks is the only serial from season 17 that I've already seen. So yeah, we're going back to the usual me not having seen most of classic Doctor Who. So where we go from here is all uncharted territory for me. Will it be good? Will it keep up the momentum from the Keys of Time? Will the TARDIS randomizer still be a thing? And will K9 ever get his voice back? Well, that one's a bit complicated. But one thing's for sure, I am not looking forward to the next story. Why is that? Tune in next week to find out. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. This was the last review that I made way back in May when I made them all at once, purely so I could do the clean-shaven bit. Yes, really. When people asked why I was growing a beard, it was like, I'm doing a bit. Next week, City of Evil.